Recording.
Now recording.
Hello, Nishihao.
Recording.
I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna try this on Chris's suggestion. Grata ad
what?
casual outlaws. Odinos de librum peace talks. Scriptus ad Jim Butcher. James Marsters narrate.
I like it. I love it that you're doing Latin, but you're saying it like you have a Spanish accent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I know how to pronounce things in fucking Latin.
Or any language, apparently. Can you
Dude,
imagine him doing
Spanish-
Klingon with a Spanish accent?
Spanish is a Latin-based language.
You sound like you're a news reporter.
At least I didn't try Klingon, because Klingon was going to be bad.
Yeah, so we talked about this like 2 weeks ago. Like, he's like, what should I do? I was like, Klingon. And then this morning, I was up at 6, and he's like, all right, I think I got it. I was like, you know what? Latin would be better. Because it's just more on the nose, right? So
Yeah.
But then he did a Spanish accent. Ugh.
Hey, according to Google Translate, it is supposed to be a Spanish accent.
Why can't you be more like Marsters? All right. Jeez.
Because I didn't take a stupid correspondence course.
Yeah. Apparently you should have.
All right, should we get into it then? Since
Yeah, now that you're done embarrassing yourself.
Oh, let's get so deep into it.
Howdy, boys and girls. Welcome back to.
Hey, we already did that. It was just in a different language.
You shut your mouth. I like it when Chris does it.
I have a 6-year voice. 'Cause I'm not having this shitty Spanish accent.
These are facts.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing? It's the Casual Outlaws.
Oh, we're getting real in there, huh?
Oh, can I get a
Yeah, right,
Hoya?
And we're going to talk about peace talks.
This is the worst intro that we've had so far for the podcast.
Yeah, that's the best. Anyway, anybody, let's go around
Strap
the room
in.
here.
Take your
Get
pants
general
off.
impressions of
Get
the book.
comfortable.
Initial takes. Let's
Yeah.
start with. I want to save Burger for last.
Absolutely.
I'll go first. This is not a great Dresden book. I would say this is probably a C, D tier book for me.
Because it was split.
I think that's a big part of it, honestly. But we can go into more details. But yeah, for me, my initial impression, it's probably one of the worst books.
I liked it, but the thing is, I went in knowing that it was supposed to be 2 books in one instead of it being split off into 2 books. And I feel like
we can talk about that more.
Yeah, I feel like with Battleground it'll redeem it, but we don't know yet. It's in the future. Nate?
I feel like this book was incredibly boring until the last chapter. Like when he's getting to the island, when he's fighting Blackstaff, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, here we go. I was like, oh, that's some cool shit. And then it's like, and so we sailed off into the harbor, and I was just like, okay, to fucking where, dude? It's like, why you gotta cut me off like that?
Back to Chicago. Where else would they fucking sail?
It's like they're just going, yeah.
I gotta say, I'm just tickled pink that everybody.
Hey, we haven't
has-
said it's your turn yet.
Fuck that shit out
Please
of mouth.
tell me when to go, Master.
You're grounded.
All right, go ahead, Burger.
Oh, is Master giving Dobby a sock? Thanks. I gotta say, I'm very happy that all of you have had at least something to complain about this time, because I've been going like between like blind rage to like serene calm, like back and forth over and over again. And how do you DLC a book? Like I didn't even know that was fucking possible. That you could just fucking hack a book in half and say, this is yours now. Wait 2 months for the rest of it to come out.
I think that was a bad. So I guess the publishers told them to cut it into 2, and
Yeah, so like
they really should have just. And I'm sure Battlegrounds will help it, but
it felt like,
shouldn't
why
have
cut it
to.
into 2? Like if this is the
I
first
think-
part of the
well, I
second part
mean,
because they cut it into 2 stories,
so
then
far-
what if it felt like
So far,
too short.
just using Audible as a gauge. What's the longest book we've had in the Dresden Files series?
like
Ghost
19
Stories.
hours, I think.
Okay,
Yeah, it's like
and
18
how long was this one?
12.
12.
Okay, so I think that
It's
might
one of the shorter books.
Yeah, I think maybe the publisher was like, okay, if we put the whole thing together into one book, it's going to be longer than 19 hours. And so the only option they had was either to cut it to try and stay with the kind of the average or not. Like, I don't know.
That's real trusting words from somebody who doesn't know what a business person is. Like, this was, hey, how do we get some more money? Because Jim hasn't published a book in 3 years. Oh, I know. Let's turn one book into two. Like, that's all it is. It's just a money grab.
Yeah,
Like,
I felt like
it's-
it should have been one book.
Oh, 100%.
You can see all the places throughout the book where they're just like hacking away at little things to try and make it fit, to like make it a little bit longer in some places, to try and like have something that ends this book. But this book, literally and figuratively, is just in stasis. Like, that's the end of our book, is it just goes into stasis.
Like Thomas.
Yeah, that's the joke here.
I know.
Yeah.
I had to spell it out for people.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
I enjoyed reading it.
By the way,
I enjoyed,
spoilers.
Like, the build up in some things, but it felt super short because
It
there's
was.
a lot. It
It was.
was.
So like Stormfront, I think, is like 9 hours or something like that. It's not the length of the book that's the issue. Like,
No.
if this was a 12-hour book and it completed, then I wouldn't be mad. But the
Mhm.
issue is that this doesn't follow any previous Dresden book that we've seen.
Mhm.
Every other Dresden book that we've seen has like an A story and a B story, and we get an A and a B story in this book.
Everything
The issue is
closes at
that
the end.
yeah, one of them closes at the end. The second one might overlap on that close a little bit, but then we'll continue going further. But there is absolutely no satisfactory conclusion at the end of this book. And I start going into like moments of blind rage. And then I calm down again because I'm like, I guess I have to wait only 2 months now instead of 3 years. So I guess it's okay. It's like if a series had like a hiatus in the middle of it, of like a TV show. So I'm like, okay, just calm down, because the Dresden parts that we get aren't bad. Like, it's good Dresden, like, writing. The writing's there.
It's good old
It's-
repetitive Dresden.
Yeah. The only thing that I would complain in terms of the writing is that
Hey, did you
the
guys know
sex
that like
stuff.
magic affects technology?
Hmm?
I didn't know if you guys knew that magic affected technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember you have to like we're big fans, and he doesn't write it towards the fans every book.
I
He actually
know.
writes it to be palatable.
I know that he writes that. Because I am a fan and have read the books numerous times, find it hilarious. Where
He
I'm
didn't
just
go in
like,
how much detail compared to the past, though.
no, he didn't. But once again, I was just sitting there going,
But see,
Mr.
in that, like, each
Mr.
book is meant to be
Mr.
able
Mercer's,
to be.
Mr. Butcher, I get it.
Yeah. But, like, that each book is supposed to be able to pick up and anybody can read it. That falls apart here, because this book absolutely requires you to read the next book. Like, if you.
Yeah, there were certain details where like he would be in a situation, he was just like, oh, this and Susan this and that time at the pyramid and we were doing that battle. Like, there's
Well,
so
it's
many
fine. No,
different-
that's part of the explaining it. But like, you can't read. I don't think you can read the beginning of Battleground, the next book, and be like, oh, this is an individual story, because you're picking up right in the middle of a battle. Whereas like you had to have the setup for it. So like you don't have that Dresden File quality. I think you might not see it right away in terms of peace talks, but it's going to fall apart in the next book in terms of like what Butcher has described as his goal is anybody can pick up any book in the series.
Yeah, because then he has to spend a lot of if he does what like the normal Dresden books, he has to go through a lot of exposition of what happened in the previous book now because of the way it falls off.
Yeah, so you're gonna get like 2 chapters at the beginning of the next book explaining what happened here, even though we didn't get a complete book.
Yeah, I mean that's at the end of the day. There's no storyline in this book that had a resolution at the end.
Yeah, and I think it tries to deceive you that the Thomas thing is a resolution, but it's just not.
It's not.
There's one storyline that had an ending and a resolution. And
Butter's
that's the
fuck.
fact that Valitrex is still awesome. The dragon guy.
Fairfax.
Farabax.
Oh,
Fairfax, yeah. Valifax.
I was like,
Valifax,
what the fuck are you talking
Fairfax.
about?
The dragon dude.
Yeah. Okay, if
see
that's a storyline conclusion, I guess.
It's
That's
not a
really
story.
it's
I'm just being
a character
silly.
that we're like,
I
oh,
know.
he showed up one time and then we never see him again. Oh, he's back.
Yeah,
I just want
was
to see
like,
him throw
oh.
down, man. When they started like saying like, "Oh man," and the look on Fairfax's face, and I was just like, "Dude, let this motherfucker turn into a dragon, please."
Oh, he can't. He would destroy the entire fucking city.
Exactly. Let's do it.
I would say
Come
the
on.
first act, quote unquote, act of the book, is probably the best part for me. Is the most solid. Like just him at the beach working out with Thomas, and then meeting Ebenezer and talking to Ebenezer and the whole Maggie stuff. I think that was probably the best part of the book for me.
We get to see the aftermath of what happened to Carlos after
Yeah.
his little
By the way,
tryst
Marcia
with.
totally fucked up Carlos's
Yes,
voice.
what the fuck happened there? Also, his Mab
5
voice.
years.
Mab
5 years happened.
basically became fucking Mavra
The cat.
with the voice.
No, I thought it became more like Kate Sith's
Cat
voice.
Sith? It sounded like Mavra to me.
Either way, it's not right.
It's not. No,
It's not silky sexy. All right.
And you know what? Where was the Lananshi the entire book?
That's a good point. She's
I
supposedly
hope she shows up in Battleground.
the next powerful, the second most powerful
She,
right?
Yeah.
Next
at
to
least
Mab.
at least in winter.
She's been strangely absent for like the last couple of books. Yeah.
I mean, she could be at the
thinking about
gates too.
Possibly, yeah.
Considering at the end of the book they're talking about how the gates are like at capacity,
pounded right
she's
now.
probably over there like, all right, where's Rashid? Let's get this shit
Still
taken
there
care
getting
of.
pounded herself.
How should we break this book down? Should we?
All right, can we talk about fucking conjuritis for a moment? Did they ever mention that in any other book?
No, it's
it's made up.
Did.
That's a big.
It's like that.
It's like the most kid-friendly Doctor Who episode sort of like storyline I've ever heard of.
Conjuritis is a Star Wars plot armor.
Yeah, we need a bucket.
Yeah, if I've ever seen one, that's something Star Wars would come up with.
It feels like it was added in to make some things feel a little bit longer. Because like it's like even down to the name Conjuritis.
Yeah,
it feels like
forced comic relief.
Yeah.
Right, because if you remove it, it doesn't actually change anything or make anything better.
Speaking of comic relief, Butters with the 2.
No, this is unnecessary. It's out of character to me.
That what I was starting to mention a minute ago. It's getting a little excessive with like the constant sex stuff. Like there's always a little bit in Dresden, and that's fine. I'm okay where like it makes sense. It's okay to be in there. It fits with the noir tone, right? And like with the mantle, sure, it works there too. But like the 2 chicks at the same time, hey, if you want to have sex with me, and go ahead and bring Murphy if you want, because then I won't even need wine to do you anymore. It's like, it's a little much. Yeah, it's almost bordering on gross. And
yeah,
it's like
I'm definitely on board with that, and I'm normally okay with
gratuitous sex
stuff. Yeah, but it just seems out of place. It just like it doesn't feel like Dresden, like a Dresden book, right? Right, because at least with the White Council, or not the White Council, the
White Vampires,
the White Court, it makes sense because that's like their nature. And then with the Winter Mantle, it makes sense because that's also the nature of the Winter Mantle. And you kind of get it when they're both in the scene together. It kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But when it's other characters, especially like Butters, just doesn't add up. It's like doesn't make like I get it. Butters fucks. I don't need it. It's like
he fucked in the last book. I'm happy that Butters is fucking.
He's already winning. He got an alpha, right? And it doesn't even matter in this story.
Yeah, and that's one of those places where it becomes clear that this was a book that was split in half. Because like somewhere in the second book, that storyline with Butters and Sonya is going to come into play.
It's gotta, considering there's a big fucking battle that's going to happen in that city.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
but
if
they were to remove
affect anything.
It wouldn't affect it at all, right? So
the only thing that it would do is it would make it even shorter than it already already. And it sounds like circular. It would be shorter, but it would also just like give the book less time in doing something, like feeding exposition.
The chapter where they're in the backyard, Sonya
just pure exposition dumps, and it's like, what are we doing here, guys? Also, find that like Butters never tried to touch the tip of the lightsaber with his finger. Completely improbable. Like, I know I would do it with like the tip of one of my fingers, 100%. I think anybody would if they're 100% honest. It just felt he's had the lightsaber for months and he's not even the least bit curious.
Have you seen what lightsabers do?
Yeah.
I would never touch it.
That sounds like a bad idea.
I would never try to touch a blade of energy.
You're lying. You're lying to yourself.
I don't even touch my knife tips.
Considering what it did to a fucking anvil, why would I want to touch it with my fucking finger?
Yeah, shear off the tip of my finger? You crazy? You white people are weird. That's some white people shit.
Yep.
You are 100% lying to yourself.
So are we going to do like a breakdown of like what happened?
Well, nothing really did happen.
Nothing happened.
Well, we got a Titan. We got a Titan involved, which completely threw me because I had no idea there was Titans in Celtic mythology.
I mean, it's a fantasy world, so it can be anything it wants to be at the end of the day. I mean, the eyes.
No. The thing is that it's actually a real character.
I don't think the Titan is Celtic. I think the eye.
No.
Ethniu.
That's an actual Celtic Titan.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with the
her weapon is Greek, though.
Yeah.
This was made by the 100-handed ones, and those are specifically
armor's
Greek creatures.
Her armor's Greek.
Whatever.
But the Fomor, I had no idea the Fomor were also a Celtic mythology thing. I thought it was just a random thing that was created by Jim Butcher for the books. Yeah. But no, Fomor are actually Celtic mythology.
Fomor are in a couple of games. I can't remember what game I played. Isn't that the name of like some bad? Oh no, you never played like Skyrim or stuff.
I tried playing Skyrim and I was like, no.
Yeah, weren't there like some bad guys called like Fomor or something like that in them? I don't remember. Not important. Yeah, I mean, so I was kind of disappointed that like we're right away in another heist book. Like I liked
Skin Game.
Yeah, like I like Skin Game. Like the heist was very entertaining. This heist felt very low stakes somehow. I didn't like the going back and forth between like talking to Murphy and Laura outside of the heist while in the middle of the heist because they just kind of drop the act halfway through. Like it doesn't really make any sense. It was a little bit unpleasant.
I do like that they brought potions back.
They brought the one potion back. That was cool.
I think a big part of it is like when you come from Skin Game.
Yeah.
And then you go into this. And Skin Game is, for me, one of my favorite books.
We got Goodman Gray back. That's a nice little plus because he's always he's not really he doesn't do anything really.
No, I mean his parts were good, but like he hasn't been gone long enough for us to miss him. Other than if we think about how it's been 3 years since we get half a book.
Does anyone else feel? Go ahead.
I mean, Goodman Gray would be good if it was a full book because what Dresden does is they'll like introduce stuff in the beginning of in Act 1 that's very subtle, and then you see it come to fruition in Act 3, right? So like in Skin Game, right? He like hires them, or he makes a phone call. You don't even know that he hires them, and then it becomes like at the end what actually happened.
Culminates.
And that's what. Yeah, and Dresden does, or Jim Butcher does that a lot in a lot of Dresden books, and that's kind of like a signature thing. And you're trying to like kind of waiting for that to drop. But this one, like, you don't get the release.
There's nothing that was set up in the beginning of the book that really pays off in the end.
Yeah. Because there's no end. It's not an end.
Because there is no end, yeah.
It's so bad.
Speaking of things that come at the end, Justine, does anyone get kind of like a vibe that she might be the baddie? Or a baddie?
No, I think she's a little bitch.
What? I don't think she's anything right now. And I generally like Justine as a character.
If she died, or this whole storyline about her dying, I'm just like, okay, just let it die.
And
Like,
Thomas would just
Yeah, he'd lose it.
go primordial.
cool. I'd see
I
that.
mean,
I could
it
see
seems unlikely.
good.
Like, we know Justine legit loves Thomas.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
know that they're having a kid together. Why would she try and force, like,
Because
and
of
she,
Nemesis.
as far as,
She's not immune to Nemesis.
I guess, but she would have had to have been exposed to it?
I mean, it could have happened, outside of Dresden's,
Sure. I mean, if your theory is correct, then it feels very hefty, like something like a bad writer would do.
I'm just getting weird vibes from her in this book.
I didn't really get any particular
we
vibes.
Yeah,
from it.
we didn't resolve any storylines to get really
Yeah.
any vibes from anything. We just kind of set up that she's pregnant and she's worried about Thomas.
Yeah.
And
And
then
that's really about it.
Thomas's reasoning for attacking what's it called and killing the dude like doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And there's no clues of like usually there's some
the only
kind
clue
of
we have is
for
he keeps
Dresden to go
trying to
down,
say her
right?
name, but like we
Yeah, of course he's gonna say her name.
we
That's what he
automatically
does.
assume he's saying his name. She's saying her name because he wants to protect her, but since
Yeah.
he can't say anything else, we really don't know. Like, is he actually trying to indicate that no, this was her?
Sure.
It just doesn't
but-
feel like Dresden's doing like an investigation like he normally does.
No,
right?
he's
Like,
definitely not.
I mean, as far as we know, she's vanilla mortal. Like, it wouldn't make any sense in that frame. Maybe somebody threatened Justine, and that's why Thomas had to go kill her. I thought it would also be just as likely to be some Oblivion War thing that got Thomas in trouble.
Yeah.
Thomas would generally try to at least plant clues for Dresden in a way.
Well,
Yeah.
that's where I
think that's
kind of
what he would
see
do.
Andy's point. Like what if he can't plant those clues because maybe Justine was controlling him or something, because out of fucking nowhere now she's a baddie, not the baddie, but a baddie.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, if it just comes out of nowhere like this, and it doesn't make any fucking sense, and there's nothing that we would see that lead us to it, it would be something that a bad writer would do. Yeah.
I wouldn't say Jim Butcher's a bad writer, right? Like he's had how many successful books compared, right? So
Yeah.
Right. I'm not claiming that Jim
I'm not
Butcher's a
saying you
bad
are.
writer. I'm saying, like, this would be a
It
real.
would be bad
This would be.
if it happened.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying I want it to be true. I don't want Justine to be a baddie. I'm just saying I'm getting that vibe.
I would rather something like Mavra, because they did mention Mavra in
Yeah.
passing, is what blackmailed Thomas to do that.
Justine.
Or them both, right?
Yeah.
Like that would make more sense to me. Mavra
Yeah.
rather than Nemesis. Because Mavra still has like
The word of Kemmler.
and doesn't like Harry, right?
Fuck,
So
I
it's got a
forgot to
bone-
put it up.
Yeah.
Forgot to put it up.
So that would make more sense to me. It's just very unsatisfying at the end of the book. And some of the character stuff, behaviors don't make sense to me.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like that Dresden went so far in the beginning part of the book to not tell grandfather Ebenezer, to not tell him that he's his grandson, and then he just kind of does it at the end of the book.
Yeah.
It's
I was
like,
Forced his hand.
I don't know
Yeah,
why
well-
he just tell him already. Like, why are you like it
Yeah.
never made sense why you're waiting at this point, because family is so important to both Ebenezer and Harry. And Ebenezer went to Chichen Itza, right? Because he found out about the granddaughter,
Yeah.
right? Like he's willing to go far for family. And the way he reacted, even though like Thomas is a white court vampire, but because it's also his grandson, I don't think he would have reacted that way as they were trying to sell it. It just doesn't seem characteristically make sense to me.
I
Yeah,
agree.
this was the theory that I had, is that the Black Staff mind controlled Thomas into attacking him so he'd become a prisoner, because he was trying to get the vampire out of Harry's way, or like he's just trying to get him out of his life. So he's like trying to set up this whole thing where, like, see, that vampire is no good. You shouldn't hang out with vampires. and we find out later that Ebenezer like brain controlled him, like because he could do that, right? He's the one guy who's allowed to be a bad guy in the White Council. That's where I thought this storyline would sort of resolve while I'm reading the book. So that's my theory.
That would have been better than the way it ended.
Yeah, for sure.
Can we talk about Mab real quick on who she really is besides Mab?
Dude.
She's Morgan Le Fay. I don't know what you want.
Yeah. It's pretty dope. Actually,
Yeah,
I like
it's
it.
cool. I like it. It's cool. What I don't like, if we go back to the Titan, I don't. So like every Dresden book has had an escalation of power, but everything has felt within a step of the other. Whereas this one, like, she just gets punched
Hey.
straight through a wall. It's
Yeah.
like,
I'm way up here, bitches.
yeah, and it's like awkward Dragon Ball Z writing where like there's hit the secret power level move button, and now nobody can beat me until we come up with some sort of like plot convenience later on.
Or Mab might just be playing it cool. We don't know. Maybe she's just like,
It could have just been a sucker punch. I'd be okay with the sucker punch thing. Like she's trying to like do all the authority stuff and not throw away the whole meeting, even though she's been insulted a whole bunch. And then she gets sucker punch, and then she comes back as a big bad. Well, not like big bad for that character, I guess. It just like at least reaches like some kind of standstill or something.
Yeah.
But then she gets taken away to the gates to go defend them because those are under heavy attack, and that's more important than dealing with whatever's going on in the mortar realm, for example. Like that makes sense. But it's just like, oh, she get punched in the wall and everybody shits themselves, and that's the end of that storyline for the time being because we have to finish this heist.
Yeah, like if the Titan wasn't like physically that powerful, but the eye is really the weapon is the bigger issue, that'd be much more compelling, right?
Yeah.
Right, because now it's an actual weapon as opposed to a person, right?
A normal person with a doomsday weapon is just as strong as, you know, anybody else there. Yeah, no, it'd make a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's just weird. And it's definitely got to be because they cut the books in half, right? They're like saving stuff for the next books. Like, oh, we can't put this quite here yet. So we're just going to have to wait and see for the next one. But it's very disruptive storytelling, right? It's very jarring.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, I only have to wait till September.
The way this book progressed, too. I mean, it feels like parts of it were a half-ass written beginning chapters of a full book.
Yeah, like I said, I think the dropping the like time skip in the middle of the heist, I think in general it's just bad. Like, here, let's explain part of the job while we're doing the job kind of thing. And we're cutting back and forth. It's like, that's not really good writing. That doesn't really make any sense. And then you just drop it halfway. So it's like, why were we doing this to begin with? Yeah, there's lots of little things.
Because actually that would have worked if they would have just kept going with it. Like if they would have just kept the time skip, like I think it would have been a very good way to deliver that whole entire scene, I guess, right? Section of the book.
I don't know if it would have. I feel like it works a lot better visually. Like when we watch like an Ocean's movie, I don't know if it works as well when you read it. I think that's kind of why it drops off. It's like, do we even still need to be doing this? Because people see because we could just do it in real time, kind of thing. I didn't like how beat up Murphy was. I don't know. I like her being badass.
I mean, how much time between Skin Game and this book?
I think just a few months.
Just months?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, because Maggie was only lived with them for a month. That's what it was.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't know.
I kind of wish more time went by, actually.
Because isn't there usually like about a year between the
9 months? Yeah, at least. That's what was kind of nice about Dresden books, because of the time gaps, like you get to see like this real development instead of like everything being hastily put together.
Yeah, and
it seems a little soon too, because Skin the Game happened 5 months ago to get into this huge war. Everyone's all fucked up, and now they're just like 5 months later.
Well, the war's been going on.
Well, no, you know
Ghost.
what I mean. Fucking Susan dies. He gets his daughter. Like, so much happened in the last book, right? And then
No, that's not the last book.
No.
That was changes.
Changes
Oh,
happen in
changes.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after the last book, they're like, this is 5 months. I know I'm fucking all over the place. 5 months later, they're all still recovering, but now all of a sudden it's just like thrown back in the shit while they're still recovering instead of having that time where.
And then you had Ghost Story, and Harry's gone for like 2 years basically before he comes back, and that whole time from the end of Changes to Ghost Story, Harry's just completely out of action. So this battle with the Fomor trying to come in and take Red Court territory has been going on the whole time.
Yeah, because he doesn't come back until what's the book between Cold Days? Yeah.
Yeah. And so like all the Fomor stuff, like Harry hasn't really interacted with the Fomor stuff, and that's
not until Cold Days does he actually get to finally interact with them.
Yeah, it's only for like a minute, kind of thing. Like there's not a whole lot there. But it's cool to see that events could happen without Harry having to interact with them necessarily. It just seems weird that he hasn't really interacted with the Fomor up until this point. And then we're into the peace talks for it. Like, in terms of everything, it makes sense. Like, it's good. It's just interesting for me there. It's a bit of both.
Molly seems a little out of character. They're saying because it's like the Winter Lady mantle is like changing her, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but not that much time has actually really passed.
I don't know. We all we saw was her eat a jar of Nutella. And
a ring pop.
And a ring pop. Like,
but he's a knight. He shouldn't have to do that too, right?
Well, I think. Well, he said specifically because it's winter business, didn't he?
No.
But he's the Winter Knight. Like, he has to summon the own people he's working for.
I mean, he answers to them, so he kind of just.
Technically, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like he's their gopher. They're not his gopher.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he has I like the setup for why he has to summon her, and I think it's cool that he can't summon her like he would a traditional fairy. It's great. I like that. It's a good setup. We just haven't seen a lot from her. We just see her be real sad in the Ghost Story, and real sad in Skin Game when he makes a phone call towards her, trying to get some more help for some things. And she's like, I can't. I'm really busy with some stuff. She sounds really sad, and we just don't really see a lot from her. She's just kind of fallen away as a character, in my opinion.
Well, I think maybe I'm trying to remember the story with her and Carlos. When was that supposed to take place?
I want to say between Skin Game and Ghosts or Cold Days, right?
Or like maybe like during the same events of Skin Game.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
And that might be why she's kind of out of it on the phone during Skin Game, because like she just fucking almost murdered Carlos.
Yeah, because that's why he's hurt, right?
That's why he has the limp.
All the way through
because I mean, she did a lot of spinal damage to him.
Yeah, I don't remember the details of that story.
Carlos will be fine in like a couple decades.
They went to fuck, and she didn't realize that the mantle would not allow this, and so the mantle took over and like fucked him up.
I must have not paid attention to that far.
Yeah, apparently it's like the Winter Lady's like not supposed to really get it on or some shit like that.
That doesn't make sense.
I know, because the previous Winter Lady
it out a bunch. Yeah.
But apparently it just becomes very violent, which is not how Molly.
I mean, that makes sense.
Fuck.
That part makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That I get.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's why Maeve wanted Dresden to be
the Winter Knight.
The Winter Knight so bad, because she wanted to get it on. I don't know.
I don't think we have very much.
That was another theory that I had, because Molly got a favor from Dresden, right? What if she gets manipulated into getting a child out of Dresden? Because this whole thing has been trying to make them not fuck for the longest time, but like it still kind of wants them to fuck a little bit. Like that's like a weird fucked up thing that I thought might happen. Because I was thinking of Maeve earlier was trying to get a child out of Dresden, right? And we see like the mantle of the lady or whatever taking over Molly. What if that like a resurgence of that sort of weird storyline comes up?
Although Maeve was infected by Nemesis, so is it a product of the mantle or is it a product of Nemesis?
I don't know. Fairies like to fucking get weird
I mean,
kids going.
fairies do like to fuck, yeah.
Yeah. What are you reading, Chris? You look really distant to me.
Catch up on this Molly Winter Lady thing.
All right, Nate, you were about to say
Ramirez.
something, and then I interrupted you with my stupid theory.
I think he was laughing at your stupid theory when you said, "I got a theory."
Yeah,
Oh,
you jumped and you got all
Yeah,
excited.
you emoted all of a sudden.
Well, because I forgot about it for a week, and then we were talking about Molly. I was like,
Yeah, that's
that
the
was
thing.
what I was
Like
thinking of at the
that gap
time.
that Burger and I had between having finished the book and then waiting for you assholes.
I felt like I enjoyed reading the book.
And you hated listening to the book?
No, I enjoyed both, but it was such a such a bland read that like I didn't even find myself thinking like, ooh, what if this was going to happen? Oh, what if this theory ends up being right? You know, like I just kind of listened. It was just like, okay, that kind of sucks.
I came up with a bunch of theories. Like I really enjoyed all of the listening that I was doing, and then the book was just over, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I guess we're done now. I guess we're just done now.
Like I want it
and I
to
have
finish.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, like I was having a lot of fun. All the things that I'm like if I'm complaining about the writing or anything like that, like I was still having fun the whole time, and then it just stopped. And it's just like, oh, this isn't where Dresden book ends. This doesn't really make any sense. And so I had to like, you guys hadn't finished reading the book yet, so I had to go on the Reddit and be like, am I crazy, or are other people like experiencing the same thing?
No, yeah,
and
the
like,
Reddit's definitely not. It seems torn, but I think it's leaning more towards, yeah, no, we're not happy with this.
I think this is a good lesson for Jim and the publishers to go like, all right, we will never do this again.
Well, it just
right?
It feels very gross to me because, like I said, it feels like you're DLCing a book. Like it feels like, and like I didn't know you could do that. Like if we compare it to like it just feels like a money grab. And if they just needed like a reason to make more money, just do what Sanderson did and release a special edition book and get $6 million in a week. Like people, like fans buy shit if you give them something worth buying. Don't give them half a fucking book and then say like you can get the other half in 2 months. Ooh. Like it doesn't. I don't get it.
We won't know now until
Battlegrounds.
Till the next DLC.
No, until a fan interviews Jim and goes,
"What the fuck?
You know, this was kind of a bad idea, right?"
Yeah.
Like, are you that strapped for cash? You know what I mean? Like,
how much should he lose in the divorce?
Half at least, right? Yeah. So like, I think until something like that happens, we won't know really. From what I've gathered, like the light reading I've done on it, it seems like the publishers were pushing him to cut it.
Yeah. I think that they were mad that Jim hasn't released a book in 3 years, and they're like, we need to come up with a way to make money, but we don't want to do any extra work.
Count?
Or he did briefcases and side jobs, right? And those make money. And he's been writing
side jobs came out before Skin Game.
Yeah, side jobs came out like in 2012.
And I don't know, like briefcases was like right around when
it was 2018.
Yeah, so it's still like 2 years and some change.
Yeah.
Because he missed the next installment of Aeronaut's Winless timeline. So like there's this gap in the Jim Butcher sells this X number of copies of books in their like financial tables somewhere. And they're like, well, we don't really want to do any extra work to like fill in that, so we're just gonna split it in two. And it's like, okay, I guess you guys are the publisher. I don't like.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
he
some
could
bean
be,
counter somewhere.
he could be caught in like a legal bind too, right? Like you didn't put any books out in the past 4 years.
This is how we have to fix it.
How we make up for it? Yeah, from a legal.
And I'm wondering, like how much should the editor have to
agreement.
play into like making things bad or trying to polish it up?
I help polish it up, yeah, as best as possible. It only helps them to polish it up.
Yeah,
like it right, because
but
they want
like,
to make sure
what if the editor was, thinking they were polishing it up, but they were actually making it bad in the process?
It's very possible.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's like we can't just blame Jim here.
No.
I don't think anybody's trying to blame Jim. I think everybody's saying that there are some bean counters at what is it? Random House.
Penguin Random House.
Random House. Yeah, Penguin Random House Audio. Some bean counter, like how we boost our quarter 2 books.
Yeah. You got to make up the losses for the past.
Yeah.
Right, because he signs a contract with them, and they're like, this contract stipulates this, and this has to happen within this time frame. You fail to do that, you're in breach of our contracts, and now we have to do this.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know how book contracts work though, or author contracts.
Anything else to say about the book? It seems like we all pretty much kind of just like pretty mad about it.
I would say if you're gonna recommend this book, wait till Battlegrounds is already out so you can back to back it.
Yeah.
Or rather, we have to wait until Battleground comes out so that we can listen to Battleground and then see whether or not it's actually worth.
Yeah, but it's still not going to change how I feel about this book, or it shouldn't change how I feel about this book because we were delivered an unfinished product, essentially.
Yeah.
Like you're going to see that. You're going to see a lot of apologists on Reddit, right? Be like, "Well, Battlegrounds is blah 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 blah."
Yeah, a lot of people.
And I'm
a lot of people won't see this clearly hacksawed, like cut in half 2-book kind of thing. Like a lot of people are blind fans. I was really worried because you guys have been pretty big blind fanboys in the past of Dresden Files. That I was going to be the only one here having mean things to say about the book.
I mean, that does fit your character so far.
It does fit my character. That's 100% true, and that's what I was worried about. Because when I messaged Andy, it was like, "Hey, you finished, right?" I was like, "Hey, have you seen the memes in the Reddit? Like everybody's complaining that the book's unfinished." You're like, "You shut the fuck up!" And I'm like, "Jesus, okay." So I spent like the next week and a half just like worried that you guys were just going to be absolutely in love with the book.
I love it that you're just sitting in your own mind.
He's just like
stressed out about it.
They're gonna like it, man. What am I going to be the only one hating it?
I'm gonna be the only one bitching the whole fucking time.
We never did a breakdown. We never did a breakdown for the listeners.
I think it's just disappointing.
Oh,
right.
Well, Nate actually does have a point. We never actually did a breakdown of what.
We never actually did a breakdown.
There's nothing to break down.
Yeah, it's an incomplete story.
Well, I mean, if you want to break it down, Nate, by all means. You did read it and then listen to it. So you're the best one to do it.
Dresden shows up. He's running on the beach. He's talking to his brother. Meets his daughter. They fucking eat some pancakes.
They don't.
Some heisty shit goes on.
You forgot to mention that. You forgot to mention that Thomas mentions that Justine's pregnant.
Some
shit goes down. He takes his brother to Demon Reach, and then the book ends.
And I did like the parts on Demon Reach.
And Lara gets burned.
Is still really cool.
I love the whole spirit thing on Demon Reach. Like and all the cells there. I'm just like, dude, if they had a book just about this fucking island, I bet it would be awesome.
Yeah.
I want to know. I want it to just be a book that goes cell to cell and interviews all the baddies there. Hey, why are you here? Well, I destroyed this other planet.
Whoops.
Some crazy shit.
I think the one thing this book does well for fans is the exposition on the different factions and what's going on in the world and stuff like that. Like it helps the world building in general. Like gives you a better concept of like who's involved, who's not involved, where do they stand, right?
You know what?
Demon Reach definitely does that.
You know what kind of bothered me when Lara gets burned by Harry when they touch, that she doesn't make another comment like still? Because
what do you mean?
So the last time that they made contact and she got burned, she was like, wait, you still have not hooked up with anyone or like broken this whole line of love thing that prevents white court vampires from touching you?
Oh, so you're upset that she didn't assume that it was still
Oh, I don't know if
Susan?
she's well. At least the fact
Because she
that
said was like, "Oh, hey, you and the cop girl, good job." Like that's what she says.
yeah, but she didn't know anything about the whole love part.
Yeah, she can put. She's a pretty smart person. She can probably put two and two together.
She's not an idiot like you. Okay,
I just wanted that comment. I wanted that comic relief.
Okay, speaking of comic relief, I had one more stupid theory earlier this morning.
He's had a week. He's had 2 weeks to figure this out because he finished the book in a day.
24 hours, man.
Be a whole army of Fomor, and I was like, you know, it'd be really stupid. If like they like have to like get bunches of pepper and like pull out nose hairs from Dresden to like force him to sneeze, and like try and force him to conjure like an entire army to fight the Fomor, and they're like spawning, punching people and exploding with ectoplasm, and then it turns real fucking slapstick because the ectoplasm is slippery, and you're just seeing like the Fomor and the Titan just like fall on their ass. And,
Whoa!
yeah, and Benny music thing.
I mean, he did defeat the one who walks behind using Pee Wee Herman antics, so it could happen.
Yeah, I just had this stupid theory today. I was like, like it's something that like if you wanted to make Chondritis make sense, might be how the battle happens. Is like we need you to conjure. Because I was thinking, I was like, because he was thinking about spiders, so he summoned a big spider, and it reminded me of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's kind of on par too with Dresden's thought process too, right? On things.
Yeah. And so that led me to a theory. I'm like, oh, what if he could force Dresden to sneeze and conjure the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? I was like, wait, then you could just like fight a whole battle with it, and that's what led to the whole stupid theory.
I feel like Molly would help him do that. Like Molly would get him to
Yeah, or you would
Chondritis.
get all of the little folk to like get jars of pepper and
I was
like
so
pluck out nose
disappointed that
hairs
they
and
were
stuff.
not in this book.
Why they aren't?
Because
I didn't matter. Let's just bloat this book up more with things that don't matter.
Yeah,
it's just
not to mention they're not going to be sitting at the table. They're not going to be sitting at the table at peace during these peace talks. The representative is Harry Dresden and Mav and
Faye in general.
Molly, yeah.
Yep. That was peace talks.
It was peace talks.
Not very peaceful talking right now.
It was just kind of.
We were all in agreement there. We
are.
Yeah. It was just kind of.
We have come to consensus.
You would say.
Well, that's why I said this book is probably not. It's probably the worst book in the series for me.
I like all the parts. They just don't fit together.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was a complete book, it would be fine, but it's not. Yeah. And so, like, I don't even know if we can like say that, like, yeah, this is a Dresden Files book because it doesn't follow any of the format before it.
It's not even a file.
Yeah,
it's half a file.
If Battlegrounds finishes and it makes the whole thing make sense, treat them as one book.
Do you think maybe they'll do? You think maybe they'll do what they did with like Ghost Story when it first came out? The narrator was different. They re-released it, and they'll re-release it as one book.
I don't know.
Actually, you know what they should do if they want to make some money? Release Battlegrounds and then do a Kickstarter like they did with Sanderson, with both books bound together in a leather binding.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to make money. That's what I'm saying. Is like instead of just shamelessly cutting a book in half, just do the Kickstarter on like.
I totally would have bought
a whole bunch of money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that Sanderson Kickstarter that I showed you guys looks absolutely sick, right?
That thing is dope.
Right.
If I was a fan, I totally would have done it.
Yeah, I spent too much money on it as a fan.
Yeah.
And it raised like $2 million, I think, in like 37 minutes, according to one person I saw. And I'm sure it's like up over 10 million by now.
That's a lot of dollars.
It is a lot of doll hairs.
That's so much dollars.
And you didn't have to do any scummy things. You're 100% upfront about, we're just re-releasing a 10th anniversary edition of this book. Like, what else do you want? And Sanderson does everything above board. I have nothing to complain about with it.
I'm surprised they didn't do that with isn't it like this year a 20th anniversary for one of their books or something? One of Dresden book?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, just based upon the timeline of when he releases books, it's got to be the 20 year of something.
Yeah. I'm sure if you go to like jimbutcher.net or something like that.
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense. It'd be
April
really
1st,
good.
April 1st was the release date for Stormfront 2000, so we've passed the
Yeah.
20th anniversary.
Yeah, they should
Yeah.
have done a Kickstarter for that book. That would have been amazing. That
Yeah.
would have been great. I totally would have got it.
Like the first, like the first 3 books in like a very nice hardbound set.
Yeah.
Yep. They should have done
Or
that.
just
Not
they
only
would have
would they
gotten
get
like
sales from the
$200
fans,
from each of you.
Yep.
Yeah. I
And
would've
every
spent
other
way too
fan.
much money.
Let
Yeah.
alone that's a way for other people to start reading Dresden Files because it'd be like 20-year anniversary. I've never heard of this series.
They did
Well, I've heard
something
of
for
it.
it, I want to say.
I know it's really popular, but this like they're doing this re-release. I can jump in here. I know that they did do something, but I don't remember what it was. I just know it wasn't
Probably
as
'cause it wasn't
anywhere near as
memorable.
sexy as the Sanderson book.
What I think I'm gonna do is when I get the next book, I'm gonna
Glue them together.
slice off,
The
my hard
binding.
copy. I'm gonna slice this right here, and I'm just gonna
Paste
fucking
it on.
glue them together. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
show
was
us
a
the dust
sort of-
cover.
It's the same as his background.
Oh, okay. There we go.
It's nice. Get the hardback.
Yeah. So thinking conclusion. If you like Dresden Files, you're gonna read it. If you don't, this isn't the place to start. There are many other
And
better
it's not
places
even
to
the
start.
place to finish.
It's definitely didn't finish.
Ah!
Ah!
Two conjuриtis.
Every other booktuber review I've seen has only been positive, so I was really worried about today.
I mean, as a fan of Dresden, I had fun reading it. I liked seeing new stuff. It's just,
I'm definitely not
we need
complaining about
other
more
books.
Dresden. I'm complaining that what we got wasn't complete.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, like if
And there's a little bit too much sex stuff. That's about it.
yeah, like having done the whole series, this works for us. But looking at it as a single book outside of the series, it's
not good.
it's all over the
I
place.
think the other things that we complain about wouldn't have mattered if they were resolved correctly. But because they're just incomplete, we're sitting here with incomplete ideas, and so we only have complaints about them.
Yeah.
Well, only a couple months, right? September.
September 29th.
Wake me up when September.
All right, so what are we doing next?
ends.
We are doing Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. So
Is that what we're doing? I thought we were reading some Thrawn book.
that's Heir to the Empire.
That is Heir to the Empire.
Oh, okay.
I actually already started the book, and I completely forgot that the book came out in 1991. So this is actually before the prequel trilogy, before the re-release in theaters, before the specialized editions. So, like, there are some things that are completely out of canon now, but it's so fucking good still.
Okay.
Heir to the Empire.
Yeah. So basically,
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars: Heir to the Empire. So basically, this is, I want to say, it's like 5 years after Return of the Jedi. The Imperial Remnant's still a thing. So the Imperial Navy basically kind of splintered and fractured once the Emperor died and the second Death Star was destroyed. And this is following Captain Pillion and Grand Admiral Thrawn, and they're trying to bring back the Imperial might because they only hold about a quarter of what they used to have in terms of Imperial space. And then it's also following, obviously, our main characters, Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, C-3PO, R2-D2. And they're trying to basically bring together this new republic.
Which version did you get? There's two. There's like a
Yeah,
20th edition with a different narrator.
Yeah, the one with Mark Thompson's the one you want to grab because the other one's actually an abridged version. It's like 3 hours long. It's not good. So you want to get the one that's like 13 hours.
That's the abridged version. Got it.
So the 20th anniversary version.
Yeah, 20th anniversary edition.
Mark.
The 3 hour one, Nate.
It's not the 3 hour one.
Oh yeah, I'll get that one. Yeah, never mind. I should be here. I was just thinking like the next 5 weeks I got to be working in Flagstaff, but that's irrelevant.
Oh,
'cause
also
I'll
just a
be back
heads
here
up,
on weekends.
the book, like it's got music, it's got sound effects and all that stuff. I was not expecting that when I listened to it because I've only ever read it.
Okay. They went all out for the 20th anniversary edition.
I don't know. I never listened to the original audiobook. In fact, I don't even know if there was an original audiobook for the 91 release.
I mean, audiobooks were a lot less common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what I can say is that the narrator does a really, really good Han Solo impression. That's about it.
Okay.
Anybody want to add anything before we just close it?
Technically never did a recap.
That's fine.
If one of my stupid theories comes true in Battlegrounds,
I kind of want the chondritis one
To be a thing.
comical thing to happen at the end because
Again,
Yeah,
he defeated a
that'd be great.
goddamn outsider using Pee Wee Herman antics, so it can definitely work.
yeah. But and then at the same time, I'm
the more I
just
think
like,
about it, the more I fear that it's going to happen. Because like,
I
why
just
else
want-
have chondritis if it doesn't come in the end?
Yeah, it's got to come in again, right? It's got to
Something
be
Right.
gotta
better.
happen.
Plot
the
armor.
whole Ghostbusters thing at the end though with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man would be good. That'd be
Be pretty cool.
No, they got to do something cooler. I mean, they did Sue, the T-Rex, right? Like, how do you top
That's
Sue?
I
by
don't know.
bringing Sue back.
Like, I could see him using the word of Kemmler because he knows the word of Kemmler,
He
right?
does.
Like, that's
And
something he's always
if he gets
threatened.
kicked out of the White Council of Wizards, I mean,
he still has to abide by the laws of
but he's being
magic.
protected by Mab, so
Yeah, I don't know if he does. Like, if they're members of the Unseelie Accords, they can't willfully attack Dresden as long as he's the Winter Knight.
Yeah.
Right? Or risk Mav's anger.
I'm not sure how I feel about them being part of the one of the plot lines of getting him kicked out of the White Council. It just seems so.
it seems like a
Rushed,
Merlin move, though.
Yeah, but
definitely
Merlin's
feels
always
rushed.
trying to do it, but it feels rushed because there's so much other stuff going on. It doesn't make
It's
sense
like-
why they would add that on top of everything else.
It's like they had a list of things that, like, active storylines, and it's like, man, it's been so long since we've talked about any of this. Let's see if we can't check off
Just
some of these
little
boxes.
tack,
And it's like,
tack.
Black Council. Okay, got it.
Like that could be a book in itself, like finally revealing the Black Council, and a part of it is trying to get him kicked out of the White Council, and that's what kind of like stirs the investigation to reviewing, like diving into it. Like that makes more sense in its own book, like its own
Yeah.
storyline.
It does feel kind of rushed and sort of not important to anything that's going on in this book.
Yeah. And it seems like just a way to like piss off Ebenezer more.
Yeah, and
Doesn't
just
make-
dump on Harry.
Has-
Like, there's
yeah,
there's a lot of times where
Ebenezer-
we just
Has Ebenezer ever slipped into that Scottish accent before? Or was this the first time he's done it?
I don't know. We know he's originally Scottish. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
I don't know.
What are you reading there, Nate?
I'm trying to go back to that chapter with Demon Reach because he said something about Demon Reach that I just remembered. Like something
That Demon
about
Reach
him.
can hide information from him.
Yeah.
Alfred can hide information. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Demon Reach is still unexplored.
But that was it, right? That's all he mentioned. There was just another one of the parts in the book where he just kind of slightly mentioned something, and then
Was anyone else
whips
kind
off.
of a little bit bothered by the fact that there was no Bob, despite being at Butters?
No, there's no need for him.
Yeah.
Other than I would have figured he would have like tried to talk to Bob about chondritis.
Yeah, like
Yeah. I did think that was coming, and then it didn't happen. And it's just like, it is weird. I agree with Andy. I think it's a little weird that Bob didn't come up.
instead we got Butters in a threesome.
Yeah. I mean,
good for him.
Yay.
But
yeah. Do you think Bob's on the shelf watching?
oh yeah, 100%.
I did see a theory that
Oh.
basically that Bob actually may have possessed Butters, and that's why Butters is being such a fuck. That's why Butters
don't-
fucks.
he wouldn't be able to wield the sword then.
No.
Yeah, unless it's some kind of agreement he has with Butters, where like he lets him kind of ride along.
I don't think so. But that's not. That'd be
I
out
think
of
Butters is too
allow that
honest.
to happen.
Yeah, I think Butters is too honest and clean of a character in that sense.
And he's generally risk averse, so to like allow it to
But
happen is pretty.
could he be in the minds of one of the skull or the werewolf chicks?
Maybe.
Unlikely. I don't think he would possess a girl.
Plus, doesn't he need permission to do it?
Yeah, from Butters.
So,
Yeah, he needs permission from Butters.
I don't. Doesn't whoever touch the skull own the skull?
Whoever holds it, yeah.
Yeah, so somebody found the skull. I would assume that Butters takes good care of the skull. It makes me wonder if he takes it on
his missions,
night missions.
Well, he does
sword
in
missions?
some of the side stories, right?
Nice romantic hikes. To
I don't know.
save
I
humans.
haven't.
I know that
He does.
like Michael does not like Bob.
No, Michael doesn't like a lot of things.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Or doesn't trust a lot of supernatural
Yeah.
things.
Michael's like borderline Karen.
What?
Not even close. What is wrong with you?
Do you mean Karen in like the pejorative sense for like fuck you Karen, the r/fuck you Karen? Is that what you mean?
You
'Cause you have to
broke up. I
remember-
didn't even know what you said.
He's asking, do you mean like Karen, the meme Karen, or you mean like Karen Murphy?
No, like the meme Karen.
Okay.
Yeah, except
I
he
don't like
wouldn't
that. I
be-
disagree with it.
Let me speak to your manager.
I don't think he would. Yeah, I don't think he'd be like a jackass like that, like
Yeah.
meme Karen.
Pretty sure that
You gotta be
Michael would
careful.
wear a mask.
Yeah. Michael would wear a mask. You got to be careful when you make that reference there because there is Karen Murphy in the story. She's the.
Although her name is spelled differently. Isn't it spelled like Karrin?
I've never seen her name spelled.
Yeah.
I'm asking Nate since he's read the book.
Corinne. Oh, I don't know. Let me see.
What do you mean you don't know? You fucking read the
No, you
book.
just read a whole book.
Yeah, but because when I read it in my mind, though, I see Karen how it's supposed to be spelled.
When you read it in your mind,
Like when I go over it in my head, I see Karen.
in my mind's eye.
In my mind's eye.
Oh,
Yeah,
Bertrand.
Karrin.
There you go.
Why does he gotta
Correct.
spell it weird? Why does come on? Come on,
Because
Jay.
it's probably an Irish spelling.
Maybe.
Let me see it.
Oh, thanks for the 720p quality there. Yeah.
There we go.
Oof, thank God we got that in there.
All right, let's call it. Let's end it.
All right. Next week, guys. Well, no, 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
How long is the next book?
13
hours.
hours?
13. Why don't we just do a week then? It's only going to take a week.
Well, we didn't do a week for this book, you piece of shit.
Yeah, Burger was really not happy about us waiting so long.
decision.
It was your
guess.
decision. You fucking told us you were going to read the book.
You
and
didn't
then listen
encourage
to the
Chris.
book.
You didn't join in on it. You're like,
Dude,
read it,
I'm
and then I want to
literally
listen
halfway
to
through
it.
my third read.
Okay, yeah,
Jesus.
it's definitely
wrong with you?
Chris's fault.
Yeah.
Then.
It's not my fault. We all agreed together.
No, we
And that's
didn't.
what happened.
We made no
Yeah.
agreements.
We did. That's why we stuck with it.
Whatever. I'm ending
said
the
we all
goddamn
made an
episode.
Listen,
we don't need
could
this
have
ranting.
altered